Full disclosure, I had no real plans to cover this movie, but I guess this is just kind of a dry weekend when it comes to cinema because there's nothing else coming out. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh. Today we're talking about The Marsh King's Daughter. This is I think it was a rated R, adaptation of a novel that I have not read. I want to put that out there. And this is the story of a woman named Helena, played by Daisy Ridley. We see her in the first 20 minutes or so of the movie as a young girl. She grew up in the wilderness, the marsh, if you will, with her parents, and it seems to be a really idealistic lifestyle. She loves it. She loves her family. Lots of really dumb cliche stuff like her father lecturing her on survivalism. He takes her to shoot deer and she can't pull the trigger. All that dumb stuff. But we quickly learn that her father is actually a giant monster who abducted his wife, brought her into the woods where no one could find them, and that's where he has chosen to live out his life as an abusive husband and father. There's going to be some mild plot spoilers here. So we're transported 20 years into the future. Helena now has a daughter and a husband. Her father, who has been dubbed the Marsh King, has been in prison for 20 years. He escapes, manages to fake his death, and then it becomes this psychological thriller. We as an audience know he's not dead. Helena has her suspicions that he's not dead, so there's not really much of a mystery to solve there. But strange objects start appearing in the house, and despite the fact that Helena has taken on a completely new identity and moved far away, she believes that he has located her and is now stalking her. This movie was not marketed whatsoever. Like, I did not see trailers, ads, or posters anywhere, so I went into this pretty blind. All I wanted was some cheap escapism, maybe some good interpersonal drama with the characters, because this is based on a best-selling novel. And I feel like this is definitely one of the cases where the book has to be way better, right, guys? I mean, those of you who have read it, let me know. I found this to be boring, forgettable, and extremely undercooked. There are good things in it for sure. The cinematography is fine. There are some unique shots here and there. And I think Daisy Ridley is good enough as the lead, although they just really didn't give her much to work with. Plus, you can tell she's kind of struggling to maintain that American accent. Ben Mendelsohn definitely gives the best performance in the film. Unfortunately, he just doesn't get much screen time because after that 20-minute stretch in the opening, we're transported 20 years later, and after he fakes his death, it's just so much of Helena just wandering around her house, looking paranoid with the same facial expression for like an entire half hour with no plot happening. And I feel like it's one of those cases, like, have you ever watched a movie that is an adaptation of one of your favorite books, and you're like, man, why did they strip this down and keep all of these interesting character growths out of it? And I know it's tough sometimes to translate things from the page of a book onto the big screen, but there's no excuse for having this big of a lack of interpersonal drama going on within the character because she clearly does have some emotional baggage. We know that when she was a kid, she thought that was just how kids normally live, and she genuinely loved her father. She looked up to him and clearly had no idea that he was a terrible person. But none of that really goes anywhere, and also the inclusion of Helena's new husband and daughter, there are things set up with those two characters that never go anywhere. They're just completely dropped out of the movie. The third act does finally give us some confrontation and a little bit of good tension, I suppose, but it just felt so undercooked. There's so much more that could have been done with these characters to convey what was going on inside of their heads, and instead we get this really generic thriller that constantly sets things up and doesn't go anywhere with them. Additionally, there were a couple of scenes in this that genuinely felt like they were pulled out of a really cheap slasher film or something. And what I mean by that is there were character decisions in this where I wanted to stand up and yell, why would you do that? You're putting yourself in unnecessary danger. That was really frustrating to pile up on all these other shortcomings. I'm going to keep this one short. Let's go with a 2 out of 5 for The Marsh King's Daughter. I didn't hate it, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it. And regardless of the fact that I haven't read the novel, I'm pretty sure it's better than this. With that said, be sure to let me know if you do see this film in the comments. What did you think of it? And if you've read the novel, does this accurately depict it? Because I feel like there's so much more that could have been done with the characters, and it probably is on the pages. Thankfully, it looks like things will be picking up the next couple of weeks. We've got the Marvels, David Fincher's The Killer, Next Goal Wins, the Hunger Games prequel. I'm not saying those are all going to be great or anything, but even if they're bad, they'll be fun to talk about. This just kind of bored me. It's very unremarkable. There's just not much to talk about. So that's going to be it for this one. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.